Hello, everybody. I'm Jalen, and we're back here in my forever world, and we're back in my Elven cave here, which I think is probably safe to say my favorite build project I've got going on in this world, and we're really going to do a lot today to add to its case. Getting this side of the cave all built up, I've really been looking forward to getting something going on over there. Between episodes, I got a bunch of resources and mending my tools up a little bit, so I'm in pretty good shape coming in, and I will say, this is me talking from the future. I do my episodes and voiceovers, and I just want to say, I think ends up being the coolest little build project I've ever done when all is said and done here. So I really look forward to showing you how it all comes together. And how it all comes together, I think, is one of my favorite parts, because I did not intend for it to become what it became. My goal was to just get some houses built over here, so I started just getting a little staircase up and was going to have this first house going, and just laid this down. Building in the same style as all the other buildings in the area. Realizing this was intended to be the biggest house that I was going to do today. So I realized I was going fairly big. And I took this flight back, and I was really liking it, and then I decided it'd be cool to have a tower coming off it, and just maybe a little angled house coming off of this side. Then I was just going to extend the houses up the mountain and just have a couple houses. So I started by getting the tower on this guy. And I am building into the cliffside, so I'm having to do a lot of rock clearing, but that's not the worst thing in the world. It's nice getting some resources as I go. And I'm just getting the faces of the buildings figured out, and I can dig into the wall later however much I want to. And I thought this ended up really cool. I was kind of meaning for them to be separate buildings, but they ended up looking like one, and I just liked how it looked. So I ended up kind of copying a similar style just up above it. So rather than having a bunch of kind of smaller houses, I ended up just wanting to have two big houses. So I went with the same theme. This one I just put two towers on. And I just kept my head down working, getting the trims put on. Again, just following the same theme as the other buildings in the area with the diorite trim, the kind of a white on white. I think looks really cool. And it was a job. These ended up being a lot bigger builds than I was planning on when I came in today, and we're still just getting started. But I really like getting the towers put in here. It really adds to the vibe, and we didn't have any of these type of buildings in yet, so cool little variation. And nice getting the roofs in nice and early. And yeah, I'd say we got a nice little start on these at this point. And like I said, it ended up being quite a bit bigger than my plan going into it, but I like that these are kind of the two main buildings, and I say two at this point. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I just really like how they look over there, but the thing I didn't like at this point was how this pillar was blocking my way. And I should mention I had a zombie attack on my villagers up in this area, so I had to get them saved, and I'll come back and cure them up here pretty soon. I didn't want to break up the building montage with that, but sadly, we're going to have to get rid of this pillar here, which is also my elevator up to the top. And I'll make another elevator at some point, but getting rid of this one for now, which has been fun. Y'all have seen me make my drop into the cave a couple times, but it is just really blocking the view at this point now that I got this cool stuff built on the other side of the cave. But don't worry, we will run with the theme of the lit up glass here. And I did decide to keep the elevator up to the level of my new build, so I had to put it back together. And like I said, we are going to continue the theme of the natural light lighting up the blue glass. This is the pillar that I discovered. I liked that little concept, so figured we better run with it. So I started covering the stub of the pillar here with glass, and then I decided I was going to replace the whole pillar with glass. So first I had to fill the elevator with glass just to keep the water in. Then I started taking out all the stone and all the deep slate I could get, at least to a point. I left the bottom of the stub, but wanted to just get it all filled with glass, and we still have our hole at the top with natural light coming in. And when I put the little glass panes on it. They're really cool little pops of light. Now it's nighttime right now, so it's really dark, but you'll see what it looks like in the daytime here in just a little bit. But I wanted to do that again, so we went over to this other pillar that was blocking a view, and at this point I decided I'm just going to slowly but surely replace all the pillars in here with these little light crystals. And I went up to be getting some yellow dye, and I knew that when I dropped down that I had taken my elevator out, and I assumed I was going to be able to just fly, but I forgot that I had built my light crystal up there so high I didn't have enough room to fly. So that was unfortunate, especially since it spawned me back at my spawn area. At least I could grab some stuff to cure my zombies up. But I did have to travel all the way back to my Elven cave, almost a couple thousand blocks by foot. But I got my stuff back, and then I got going up with the yellow crystal here, which I really like the way the yellow ones end up looking. I think it ends up being my favorite. Let that be a hint that these aren't the last of the crystals, but man, I was really liking how these looked. And now you can see what it looks like in the daytime with the light coming down, and yeah, I think the panes in there are just cool little pops of glass. And I wanted to get a couple more over here. And this is another job that ends up being quite a bit of work, just clearing the pillars out, but again, getting a decent amount of resources, and I'm chipping away at getting rid of the skulk in the Elven area here. That's something I really want to get done. Then I got going on the lime green one here, and as you can see in the daytime, it just really pops. And so does the pink. You can see as I'm building it that in the daytime, the glass just absorbs the natural light in a really cool way. And I'm realizing I haven't got a clip of me going up and getting the hole in the ceiling, but yeah, you gotta have the hole right above the crystal there, all the way to the natural light from the ceiling. That's how you're getting this effect here, in case you hadn't seen my earlier episodes. And that's how we get the sky effect up there as well. Then I got going on just spreading the moss around. I went through a whole bunch of bone meal, just going around my cave and spreading moss, and this will be an ongoing project. I also finally got given this area a little bit of love. Just starting by getting the moss spread out, as well as getting the river figured out. I've really been looking forward to just getting this river winding through here, and took a little work getting the river shaped up, but I think we got it looking really cool. Especially when we get the moss put in here, and with all these pillars, you might be able to guess what my plan is for this area. I actually put in a pretty good amount of work in over here terraforming and just making the water make sense more than anything. And yeah, the plan is to slowly but surely turn this into a crystal forest. We're going to replace the majority of these pillars with those light crystals. I think it's going to look really cool. And even without the crystals, I think this is really starting to look cool here with the river winding through nice and neatly and just getting the moss spread in. I'm just really liking it. But I was ready to get back working on my buildings here, just getting the basics in, some borders, some doors, windows, trims, and I'm just going to let it play out for a second. And I did put a little bit of work into clearing out the rock behind the buildings to open up the interiors, but I'm not too worried about that today. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with this area yet. I think I'm going to do a big farm of some kind, but I'm still thinking about that. But as you can see, some of these buildings really took some clearing to open up. And like I said, did a decent amount of work, actually. And I got back to spreading a bunch of moss around, as well as planting some cherry trees, because that is another thing I'm adding to the theme around here. Trying to not go too crazy with them, though, but I do like how they frame our new buildings up here, and I think these are just looking so cool. And I'm calling them buildings, houses. I didn't know what to call them, but I knew it was starting to look like a castle at this point. So I decided if I just add a big tower right in the middle, which it took some experimenting in a creative copy of the world to figure out how I was going to fit this in and have it look all right. But I ended up pretty happy with what I came up with, so I just put my head back down to work and got it installed fairly quick. And I'm really liking these stained glass windows I got going on, especially now that I got the colorful crystals coming through the area. And oh man, I just think that really brings it together. And like I said, I've accidentally built a castle. I was not planning on doing this today. I was planning on just having some houses up here like the rest of the cave. But now we got such a cool focal point of our Elven cave down here. I'm just couldn't be more excited with what we got going on here. And then I realized it kind of looks like a mountain behind there. So I wanted to make it a mountain. So I went and got a whole bunch more snow because I was running low on that. And while I was out there, I was hunting some creepers because I am running low on gunpowder. And I got a little cocky. I don't know why I thought I could get the skeleton and this creeper all in one attack. 2 pretty bad deaths so far. I say so far. But this one I at least didn't spawn all the way at my spawn area. I was just at my treehouse area, which is fairly close to where I was. So I got some blue ice, and I decided I was just going to turn this into a mountain inside the cave. So I started with the snow and just picked what was going to kind of be a snow line. And I just shaped it out. And once I got that figured out, I just rose it up all the way to where I got my glass sky, shaping it like a mountain. And of course you got to get some glaciers in there. And I made the bottom level dirt just to differentiate it from all the stone that we got in the cave. And while I was at it, I got terraforming this waterfall a little bit just to make it a little neater. It's always been kind of bugging me. And got working on this little second peak off to the side, which was kind of awkward to figure out, but man, I really like how it came together. I think it actually looks like a mountain up there inside the cave. I think it's a really cool thing we got going. I just really like the way the snow and ice pop up there. But I wanted to get a little sky backdrop going for it, so I headed back to spawn just because I knew I had a bunch of glass and sand over here and mended my tools while I was at it. But then, yeah, like I said, we got our blue sky all along the ceiling, but I figured there's a few areas back here where I thought it would be cool to go vertical with it and just have the blue sky as the backdrop right behind the mountain. So I just went around and brought it up until it met the horizontal sky we got going. And like I said, keep going up top and poking some holes, making sure that there's nothing blocking it like a leaf, and just go all the way down. And then at daytime it just really pops on the blue glass. The blue glass really picks it up nice, and it spreads it through the glass around it. So I took a whole bunch of trips up and down, mainly because I realized that this whole area could use quite a few more poke holes, and it would make the sky quite a bit brighter during the day down there. So I put in some work going back and forth. Added a few clouds into my vertical portion of it. And this place just keeps getting cooler. It's really getting to a point where you forget you're in a cave from certain angles. I just think it looks so cool. I think the mountain really makes the castle stand out and look bigger than it really is, even though it is fairly big. But I just really like what we got going on here. You might notice a big jump in the days here, and once again I jumped in this world for a stream, which I am enjoying doing, so I'll be doing that every now and then nowadays. And during this stream we got this kelp farm built up, my first kelp farm ever, I did get it working in the end. I know I ended stream without it working correctly, but I got it figured out off camera. And then we also got an axolotl aquarium going. I was going around getting some new animals from my area with chat helping me name things, and I got in a tangent of getting this axolotl aquarium going, which I really like how it turned out. A little darker than I would like, but still looks really cool. But before I went back to the Elven cave, I did a whole bunch of gathering of some sand because, as you might have noticed, we need a whole lot of glass for what we really want to do for our end goal in the cave here. And it was a project getting it all smelted up, and coal was kind of at a premium at this point. But I got pretty well stocked up: shulker, glass, bunch of flowers for dyes, backup sand and glass. I do end up needing to get more, if that means anything. But yeah, the plan is to, over time, just start replacing a bunch of these pillars with some of these little colorful crystals I got going on here. And for this, I did jump on stream again, but I tried my best to take clips as I went so I could just squeeze it in the episode and kill two birds with one stone. So the main focus of the stream was just getting a bunch more of these crystals in. Poking the holes for the natural light. As expected, the lime green one just looks really cool. And I just kept my head down, getting in these crystals. I didn't do as good of a job of remembering to take clips as I had hoped. Something I will improve at over time, but I got enough to just keep the gist. It was just a long time of placing glass, essentially. I did veer off and have a nice sculpt clearing session, because like I said, I'm really trying to get rid of all this in my Elven area. Even got rid of this big patch of it under my path, which has really been bugging me for a while. I'm glad I finally got under there and got rid of that. I just think it looks a whole lot cleaner. Eventually I'll be coming around and getting some crystals coming off the ceiling as well, which will be cool. But yeah, then I got back to putting in more crystals. I'm trying to not have too many colors, but I couldn't hold myself back from having a purple one. And I realize it's dark here. Again, this is an example of me not getting the best clips as I was streaming, but we'll get a view in the light in the moment here. But then I got going on extending the sky. We got a whole bunch of cave without the blue sky over it. And I still had a decent amount of glass left, so ended the stream by just extending the sky. And we really made some progress. And I've said it before, this sky project is something I really recommend for anyone building in a cave. Having the day-night cycle in a cave, and it just looks really cool. I just think it's a really cool concept. Got some clouds put in, and you can see how much we extended. Everywhere you see torches is new sky that we got put in on the end of stream, so we really ended with a bang. And you can see down here, the left is where we got the natural light coming in, and just how much cooler it looks than when you compare to the right, which is lit up by torches. I don't know how well it will really come through on YouTube, but it definitely just shines a whole different way. And you can see the natural light on the crystals from here. Again, I was still on stream and didn't get a great shot, but we'll get a good walkthrough at the end. Like I said, that wasn't all the sand and glass I used. While I was out getting a bunch more, I was just getting way too comfortable and letting the phantoms attack me, and I realized I was stuck in the middle of nowhere with nowhere to escape. 3 deaths in 1 episode. I'm embarrassed. Spawned me back at spawn. I had to go all the way back out. Wasn't too far, I guess, but at least we're getting my stuff back every time. But I still needed to get a whole bunch of sand. Almost 2 shulkers worth again. And had to get it all smelted up, manually loading these hoppers because the cart doesn't have enough space for all the glass I needed. So I just kept on placing, and yeah, I was off the stream at this point, but I did decide to finish my whole sky. So much glass placing. The kind of project I never used to do, but I'm finding myself enjoying more and more all the time. Just these big kind of grindy projects, which I guess is probably because I'm on day 3400 in my world. I've never been there before. Yeah, it's got adding in a whole bunch of clouds, and you can see the clouds that have the natural light above compared to the ones like this that don't. It's how big of a difference it makes. And I went up and down more times than I would like to say. But we got lots of natural light brought in, so our sky is ready to roll at this point. I still could do some work, get some clouds embedded in the blue and some even on the bottom. I like to kind of get the 3D effect on the clouds, but I'm super happy with the progress we got today. I was not planning on getting this whole sky installed. This whole episode ended up just being so much more than I envisioned when I started. And I just can't say enough how happy I am with how it all has just come together. Definitely my favorite place in my world. I'll say oftentimes that things are one of my favorite builds, but this is my favorite build. And especially now, and the skies are so epic, extended all the way back there. Our lit up crystals in the daytime you can really see now. And our mountain, just everything about the way this whole episode came together. I was planning on this all being houses. So this was one of the most fun episodes I've made, to be honest with you. And I'm just really liking the ideas of where this can go from here, getting the crystals all extended through. Like I said, I think I plan on putting a big farm in this castle of some kind. I haven't figured out what I want to do yet, but yeah, these crystals I think is just a really cool concept, and I was really looking forward to expanding on the forest back here, and we'll do something else with the forest as well, but just the crystals as a theme I think is just going to be super cool. And our castle here just really brings the whole area to the next level. I'm really glad it ended up going this route rather than just being houses like all the other buildings we got. Obviously, lots of work to go clearing this out for a big farm at some point, but man, I know I sound like a broken record with how excited I am about this place, but I just really am. Especially, we still got lots of work to go on this side, getting some crystals coming off the ceiling. Now, that's going to be an annoying job. Might wait a little while on doing that, but overall, I just couldn't be happier with this cave. So, if you like what I got going, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, and YouTube might show you more of my videos. And I would greatly appreciate it. But as always, I really do appreciate you all for coming. And have a good day.